Hey guys, welcome back. Andrew here with Ambient Endeavors. And if you've gone down the rabbit hole of tape echo style delay pedals, chances are you've encountered a version of the pedal that we're going to talk about today. We're checking out the brand new Catalinbread Belle Epoch Plus. We're going to talk about what is new for this new version of the Belle Epoch, and then we're going to get a little bit personal as I ask whether this little guy can replace my current favorite tape echo, the Strymon Volante. If you're new to the channel here, thanks so much for clicking on the video and watching. Please hit subscribe below so you can stay up to date on all the future videos here. And if you're shopping for gear this holiday season, please consider using the affiliate links that I put in the descriptions of all the videos. It's a pretty simple way that helps support the channel. But go check out Catalinbread's website if you're going to buy the Belle Epoch Plus here or another pedal from their catalog. They've got a sale going on right now. So one of the main features of the Belle Epoch Plus is the tap tempo control. You have the ability to hold this foot switch down for a few seconds and enter tap tempo mode, where then you can set your tempo by clicking on the foot switch there. It's a great feature to have, and it adds a ton of flexibility for this pedal if you're using it live on a big pedal board. My one complaint about the advent of tap tempo and these smaller pedals is not having an external jack to be able to send tempo to the pedal externally. I think that's a great feature and just kind of some added versatility and functionality there. But nonetheless, I think it's a big upgrade to have tempo on board this new Belle Epoch Plus. So that's a big win. You also now have 3 modes that you can select from that we'll get into in a second here. We'll also show sound samples of all 3 of these modes so you can kind of hear and see how they differ from one to the next. But you basically get a nice range from that kind of pristine new magnetic tape sound all the way into a tape machine that's been sitting around for years, maybe hasn't been serviced or is just a little bit out of sorts, to get that darker, kind of lower fidelity, crunchy tape sound. So among those 3 modes, you really have a nice range of sounds and tones and textures that can be useful across a number of different contexts. They've also done some nice refinements under the hood that you might notice as you dig in and spend more time with it. They've refined the preamp section to give more dynamic range to that part of the circuit. They've added some headroom overall to the pedal. They've redesigned the mix control, and they've done some refinements and adjustments to the buffer section as well as the output impedance to just allow for it to play more nicely with other pedals in your signal chain. Overall, it's a really nicely refined version of this compact tape echo that keeps a lot of consistency with the control set and the interface. It keeps that simplicity and approachability to dial in some great tape sounds on the fly and do it really easily and quickly. And it adds those 3 modes to give you some nice versatility and some options for the different flavor or texture of tape echo that you want. Now, I'm truthfully not in the business of telling you what you should or shouldn't do. But what I love to do is to go through the exercise of evaluating the gear that I have or the gear that I'm wanting to buy or acquire and understand what its strengths and weaknesses are, kind of understand what it might be replacing or updating in my rig, and understand what contexts or use cases I'm buying this gear for. And so we're going to launch into this section to talk about how I would just approach comparing, contrasting, or evaluating this pedal against my current favorite, the Strymon Volante, as an exercise to just show you the pros and cons and some of the value judgments and decisions that we make when we think about different gear in the marketplace. There's actually a surprising amount of similarities to the Belle Epoch Plus and the Volante, with some striking differences that we'll get into. But what I love about the Belle Epoch is that you get all the different controls of the tonality and character of your tape echo, just like you would in the Volante, but in a more concise control set that doesn't require you to fine-tune a number of different knobs. You have that refined mix control that, in tandem with the record level, gives you the ability to control how prominent or how in the background you want your echo to sound. And then in the middle you have your tape effects, which controls the character and largely the modulation or the wow and flutter type effect for each of the modes here, and it varies pretty greatly from one mode to the next. So you really do get 3 pretty unique unique sounding modes in Belle Epoch Plus that in some ways can kind of mirror the 3 modes of the Volante, whether it be the studio, the tape, or the oil can style delay in that. I personally find that I kind of set and forget those controls, even on a big multi-knob, multi-switch pedal like the Volante. And so I don't really miss much of that with the Belle Epoch Plus, and it's actually pretty concise and easy to dial in on the Belle Epoch Plus. The reason why I've loved coming back to the Belle Epoch Plus is very simply because it sounds good. I just think it sounds really great for a tape style echo. It's what I want to hear when I think about tape repeats, and it takes you from that silky, magnetic, clean tape repeat all the way into the really almost murky, dark, and distorted and low fidelity tape echoes that I sometimes like and want. And so they've just done a great job with this circuit and this lineage, and they've continued to refine it. And so very simply, I love the sounds that you can get from the Belle Epoch Plus. I gotta say, it sounds really good, and it's what I would want a tape echo to sound like at its core. So the reasons I gravitate towards the Volante ultimately become these very apples and oranges comparisons. I love that the Volante has a sound-on-sound looper. For me, in live scenarios, that becomes really useful when I need to just create an ambient pad underneath my playing, or I want to do something more experimental on the fly. It's got that, and it's got the right amount of control and usability for that in its feature set. It has multi-head functionality that can be fun in the studio when you want to do some more dynamic stereo sounding multi-head delay sounds. But on the whole, when I'm playing live, I don't really use stereo delay sounds. This taste and preference has changed over the last few years, but I tend to prefer a mono delay sound going into a stereo reverb if I want to have that big stereo dynamic feel. And in live settings, it just kind of complicates things to have these big, wide, overly dynamic stereo delay sounds happening in a lot of cases. Sometimes, or for some genres, that can be important, but I have come to really feel pretty strongly that you can do a lot with mono delays and stereo reverbs, even if you are doing those big ambient sounds. And so I personally don't really miss the fact that this isn't a stereo pedal. And you can blow up the comments if you want, if you're bummed about not having a stereo Belle Epoch. But for me personally, I think it's still a great sounding delay that you can create stereo dynamics with in different contexts, in different ways, and not really lose a lot of that wow factor. The other pretty obvious difference is the size. I mean, you can probably fit like 3 of these Belle Epochs into one of the Strymon Volantes here. And so when you're constructing your pedal board, that obviously becomes a factor that we make decisions about. And the Belle Epoch crams a lot of sounds and functionality into a really small package and allows you to put it virtually anywhere on your crowded pedal board to have as an effect, even if you only need it sparingly or situationally. So I think there's a ton to love about the Belle Epoch, and I could see myself grabbing this for different situations or pedal board builds where space is a constraint, where I really just want to have that tape echo sound amidst a number of different sounds, or whether I just want a really simple, straightforward, small pedal board for a gig that still has tap tempo and a few different options of delay types built into it. This would be a great option for that scenario too. So we're going to launch into some sounds of all 3 of the modes here in the Belle Epoch Plus. And what I noticed as I shot these sound samples is that there are really some pretty distinct sounds and textures and feels from each of the 3 modes for 2 different reasons. One being the foundational voicing of the mode, whether it be a more clean and silky, smooth tape echo or a shrunken fidelity, a dirtier, grittier style tape sound. And then 2, this tape effects knob is very different from one mode to the next, and you get a pretty different wow and flutter or modulation effect in each of those modes. So check that out now in the sound samples and see the pretty big range and variety of sounds and tape textures that you can get from Belle Epoch Plus. We're going to be using a Heritage H535 loaded with humbuckers, running into a Keeley Blues Disorder overdrive for a little bit of overdrive, into the Belle Epoch Plus, and then onto a Strymon Cloudburst for a little bit of reverb, going on to a Walrus Audio ACS1 Mark II for our amp. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the sounds here and drop any questions or comments you've got below, and we'll chat here down there.
you.